We have one final guest, and listen, we can't leave this night without talking about that brilliant Leeds United team that you were a part of. Eddie Gray is with us. Evening, Eddie.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm very well. You were on with us a couple of months back, and I was saying to the lads afterwards, it felt like I was talking to John Giles, but with a Scottish accent. You have an awful lot of similar thoughts on the game.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny and I get back a long way, and funny enough, we joined Leeds United in the same year. Johnny joined in '63, the year I come down from Scotland. I was a young lad, and I'll never forget the first time I seen John training. We were supposed to be cleaning the stand. Teammate of ours, Mick Bates, and we could find a little niche through a window and watch the first team training. And Johnny walked out, just came from Manchester United. And I don't know if John remembers this, but he never wore any socks. It's the first time I've seen a footballer come out with a pair of football boots on without socks. And we were just amazed when we seen him play and the talent he had. And obviously we struck up a great friendship over the years. And the two of us were fortunate to play with great players with Leeds United. Sadly, as John knows, a few of them have gone now, but it's a great day for John. 80 years of age soon, and wonderful achievement, John.
Certainly, Eddie, a lot of luck attached to that, and one of the reasons that is playing alongside players like yourself, Eddie. Eddie was a great player at United, and everybody knows that. He was a terrific player, and Eddie suffered a little bit because Eddie was a natural midfield player, and at the time when Eddie joined, he was young, obviously younger than Billy and myself, and we were established in the team, and Don had to not make changes, but he had to put. Peter Lorimer, for example, was a midfield player. Eddie was a midfield player. And with the established players, Billy and myself, Eddie had to come in on the left wing. Peter had to come in on the right wing. And they were absolutely brilliant. Eddie was an unbelievable player. And anybody that's watching this tonight or listening to this tonight, what I'd like them to do is to go back and try and get the match. Eddie was at Burnley.
Burnley, yeah.
Eddie scored one of the most spectacular goals you've ever seen in your life. So I'd recommend anybody that's listening to this tonight, try and get... What year was it, Eddie?
Pardon? What year, John?
Yeah.
It was 1970, John, that.
Yeah.
Try
and get it. I'm saying to the young people, Eddie, that might have seen you play, but try and get that particular match, try and get it lined up and see this particular goal. Eddie
yeah, I'd just like to say something to John.
The whole team.
John, you're the reason I'm sitting here, still a frustrated midfield player, because you were playing where I wanted to play, John.
And I know that. I know that now.
I could never get in the team before you, John.
But what a player he made, not playing in his most favourite position. Like when we played I get the ball, Eddie was always in a good position. And Eddie was brilliant. Eddie could beat players, he could score goals, he could do all the things. Eddie was one of the great players. And I think he was called the Scottish George Best. That's how good Eddie was. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, there's not many.
Well, John, you weren't so bad yourself, were you? You got a lot of accolades, John, and fully deserved. I mean, great. I mean, funny enough, John, I was reading I was reading your book the other day again, A Football Man, and that sums you up, John. Because that's what you were all your life, a proper football man. And I read the book with interest when you're talking about your dad, Dickie, and how he was always right, he felt, when he was talking about football. A bit similar like yourself, John.
He's being sarcastic now, Nate.
No.
What Eddie would say, like Eddie's attitude for me seems to be, I'm not always right, but I'm never wrong.
Yeah. I mean, when you look back at your career, John, we were talking there about
Eddie just seems to have frozen there for a moment. John, we'll get Eddie back in 1 second there. We've spoken so much about that Leeds team, John, over the last few years. I think in this country now, everybody knows that 11 that you played with. They're all such household names, and it's been such a difficult few months over the last 6 months. So many of that team sadly passing, and you touched on it before, that bond of brothers that you had. Like, to be a part of a team like that 50 years later, we're still talking about, and also there's such fondness for. It's an incredible thing.
Well, when I was a kid, Nathan, I always had a dream of playing in a certain team. And the Leeds team did that for me. That was the team and the type of team that I wanted to play in, where there were great individual players playing for the team. Ultimately, the team. Everything was about the team. Norman Hunter, Paul Greeny, Eddie, Peter Lorimer, Alan Clark, Billy Bremner, all these things. Everything was for the team. With a great manager in Don Reilly. And I was very lucky. I 11 years. Only 1 year playing with Jimmy Anfield. I had 11 years playing under Don Reilly, and to play with those lads were the ultimate of what I wanted to do when I was a young kid. The type of the spirit, the team, everything that was going with it. Great players like Eddie, Peter Lorimer, Billy Bremner, Norman Hunter. It was a dream come true.
Eddie is back with us. Eddie, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can, yeah. We were just talking about how it's incredible that 50 years on, that team is so set in people's minds from 1 to 11 who was a part of that team. And also, as John speaks about so often, that bond that you have as a group. I think thankfully got to have a bit of a get-together around this time last year in Leeds. And it's been such a tough year, but what you've had as a group over the last 40, 50 years, there's not many footballers who get that.
John and I have been speaking a bit, you know, as soon as this lockdown's finished, and we always say it, we'll need to have a reunion, John, and meet up with a few of the boys again and have a good laugh, because we always had a good laugh, you know, like every time we meet. And interesting when, you know, reading Johnny's book, you know, like he still says, you know, he says at the end of his book, he feels more comfortable, you know, with the Leeds lads than any other group he played with, you know, and that's great credit to the players that he played with, and the friendship, as you say, was strung up over, you know, years and years. And plus, you know, the highs and lows of football. Everybody knows there's highs and lows in football. We celebrated the highs, and sometimes John and Peter would celebrate the lows as well, because Peter Lorimer was never down. Peter was always lifting people, you know, so that type of camaraderie lasts forever, I think.
Yeah, it's an incredible
thing. It's something that I tell you what I always liken it to, Nathan. It's like being in the army together in a war. You have to stick together. We played in those days behind the Iron Curtain, and nobody knew where we were playing. Nobody knew how we were playing. Stuck together. If anybody was kicking us, we stuck together. Didn't give in to anybody, and that's a bond that you have over a period of time that lasts. So when we get together, it's like we've never been apart, and unfortunately we haven't been able to get together because of the virus. But we will get together. We will.
Yeah.
That
was quite, John. That was quite a frightening night when we went to Leipzig that time, because we had to go through. It was Iron Curtain, as you know. We had to go through Checkpoint Charlie. You know, we were all wondering what was happening, watching soldiers walking about the streets at both ends, a checkpoint with guns. You know, I'll never forget that. And the snow in Leipzig was awful.
Yeah, you'd shared some incredible experiences.
Eddie, don't forget, those guys are kicking lumps out of us as well. The referee not on our side by any means. That's when you have to stick together, which we did,
Well, as we heard earlier on, John, from Kevin Keegan, the referee was often on your side. Sorry, Eddie, go on.
John could look after himself, though.
If there's one thing we've established tonight, it was John could look after himself.
Yeah, the game was more physical then, as John knows, than it is now, you know. And you expected things to be tough. I think that, you know, when you were going to places like that, you expected a hard game physically. And that's one thing about the side that I played in. You know, they could play a physical type of game, but if teams wanted to play football against them, they could play football as well. And that was a great thing about the side.
Eddie, you've been brilliant to join us. John, unfortunately, we're out of time. I hope you get to meet up sometime soon and you have that little bit of a reunion and you get to share some stories again.
We'll do that.
We've had a great night, Eddie. We'll talk to you soon, John.
John, have a nice Bacardi.
Thanks for coming up, Eddie. Tomorrow. Thanks for turning up. See, I'll be in touch. We'll be in touch anyway. Yeah,
happy
thanks
birthday.
again.
Cheers.
And you. Thanks, Eddie.